Good morning. Let's take a look. We have some really wild stuff going on in the market. SPY taking a huge move down. Gapping down after pushing this all-time high on earnings. So we had some bad earnings with Amazon. Of course, Bezos was selling right before the earnings. Pretty wild uptrend on this thing, but yeah, it looks like a pretty clear trend break to me on Amazon. So pretty serious trend break there. Maybe we have a market top coming in. Hard to say. Really hard to say, but it does seem like usually when we get SPY gapping down like this, it wants to fill the gap. So SPY is down to 626. So 626 on SPY, 625. The question is, can it fill the gap? So 625 would be right into this moving average, which it has just touched again for the first time since, I don't know, how many days is this? 38 days. So it's been 38 days. It tagged it right here. It almost tagged it right there. Probably did in extended hours. And then before that, it was April. So it's kind of been riding up this trend line or this moving average. And when it breaks it, it will maybe be a little bit scary because we don't know how hard it's going to break it. But for now, pretty much every time it breaks through that, it's going to bounce in the short term. So that's kind of what I'm looking for here. And we know SPY likes to fill the gap. So we'll see if it can fill the gap today or not. If it can't fill the gap, then we might be in for quite a pullback. But if it does fill the gap, then it's sort of business as usual. And you can see over here, the last time it didn't fill the gap right away, we had a huge second red day. So this was a really crazy time in the market. So we're hoping we kind of just fill the gap. That's what I'm hoping today. We'll see if I'm right or not. Definitely in a really volatile situation. So we'll see. Tesla. Again, Tesla had this bad earnings. Look at this. Filled the gap off of this earnings drop right to the bottom of this trend line. Pretty impressive. Love the action on Tesla. Now it's filled the gap. The prophecy is fulfilled. Maybe it goes down, but it's also sitting on this trend line. So this trend line has to break too for a move lower at this point. So we have the algo here. This is the Tesla swing trading algo. It's not just for Tesla, but it is short at 318. So it's up 29,000 on that position. Performance is pretty good on this. So look at this. We're up 1,300% since 2023 on that back test. So it doesn't always do the best job at getting out in the right places, but that's something we can work on and kind of adjust. But also just use it as a guide for our swing trades. Probably if it's short, I should be short. And then if it comes into an obvious area, that's where I need to be out. So we'll see what Tesla does today. It's going to be interesting to see if it bounces or not. It would make sense for a bounce, even if it breaks this bottom trend line. So I'm looking for this to bounce up towards 313, maybe 316, somewhere in there, either today or over the weekend. So we'll keep an eye on that, but it is sort of holding right now. So we'll keep a really close watch on that one. Ideally, it just stays in this wedge all the way to the end of the wedge. Just kind of the prediction we have here. We want it to just follow this wedge, eventually break out or break down. Doesn't really matter. So that's the prediction on Tesla. Take a look at some small caps here really quick. See what's up. This looks like a China pump and dump. Pretty classic walk-up pattern on the daily into a liquidation. So it looks like that one is going to get pumped again. Let's see if there's any news on it. There is no news. Yeah, no news on it. So it's probably just some kind of pump. It's either a pump or it's insider buying. Most likely it's just a pump. Let's see. Let's make sure we got this one on the watch list. Okay, we got it. NAMM. Maybe already coming down on this one. Let's see what the news was. Minerals provides corporate update. So, mineral company? Established African gold producer with portfolio mining and exploration in Zimbabwe. Okay. In the Democratic Republic of Congo. Business combination with Hennessy Capital. Okay. Interesting. This is a fresh chart, so not really a ton of resistance on it. Looks like maybe it's already ran up to the main level around 11 bucks. Coming back down already in pre-market. You know, we'll keep an eye on it, see if it wants to give us a bounce short. T-non. Expands. Okay, with a strategic asset acquisition, So they acquired something. Let's see. Medical technology company. Okay, acquired SI. That's based in Tampa, Florida. Okay, pelvic anatomy. So this is like some sort of medical stock. Acquiring SI. Let's see. What is SI looking like? SI is an IPO. Looks like an IPO yesterday. Start trading tomorrow. Okay. Now that's sort of interesting. Let's do SI. Keep an eye on that one. And also Tenon. All right. So SI could set up for some sort of breakout. It's kind of an expensive junk stock, but you never know. These can really get moving. FDMT. They announced results from his 4D, okay, some sort of trial results. What was it? $52-week and 60-week analysis. Okay. That's all I need to know. Let me throw this one on the watch list. We have a few to keep an eye on. Let's take off UAVS. We have LiDAR. We'll keep an eye on that one. FDMT. Add it to the watch list. Okay, good. BTAI. This is a known kind of junk AI stock. All right, running pretty good in pre-market. Not up enough for me to do anything with it. BTAI, but we'll keep an eye on it. Okay, that's good enough for those. So let's see. Let's take a look at some of these big caps. Netflix riding down in this channel. After a crazy move up. Now, this could be kind of interesting if SPY does recover pretty soon. Hopefully it has a little pullback, but then these kind of stocks like Netflix are going to keep going higher, probably. Netflix is having to pull back, and it has been for a while. SPY's been going higher and higher. So as things shift around, the money will come back into Netflix too if SPY recovers. So actually not a terrible place to think about a longer term swing on it. Want to let it settle out though and go as low as it wants to first. It's still holding that channel, so I don't really want to buy it yet. Micron failing kind of hard. Looks like it was holding up pretty good, and yesterday everything just got hit pretty hard. Again, if SPY recovers, these stocks that are pulling back like this are going to reclaim and probably continue higher, I would guess. D-Dog was really interesting. Morning, Scotty. So D-Dog this was one of the super nice call outs I had here, and it's fallen apart now, but we had a swing trade on it from this trend break right here. Let me make it red, easier to see. So we took it on this trend break right here and swung it into the gap fill, which worked out really good. So there was a gap fill right here at 151. So ended up selling into that gap fill off of that trend break entry. And then, so the prophecy's fulfilled, right? So I'm not sticking around forever, but it did what I wanted, got out, and then they had another trend break here, which kind of triggered the backside. But on top of that, I just learned this. D-Dog works closely with CFLT, Confluent, and D-Dog uses basically the services Confluent provides to run their stuff. So it's all like cloud-based stuff. And then Confluent had earnings yesterday, or not yesterday, but on the 30th, and dropped really hard on earnings. And also the CEO of Confluent said that one of their main customers is building in-house solutions to replace what D-Dog does, and D-Dog uses Confluent to provide their service. So we know that customer, which they didn't say, but we know it was OpenAI was the customer that they're talking about, because we heard about that before when we were buying D-Dog. So OpenAI is making their own in-house solutions to replace D-Dog. So that's another interesting little thing that happened. But what's awesome is if you just follow the trends, then you don't have to know everything that's happening, really. So find the trend break. If the trend breaks, yeah, now maybe there's a problem. You don't really have to know what the problem is exactly. But that's what happened on D-Dog here, and why we had this big move down on the 30th. And really, it turned into a kind of a nice second red day. So I missed that short, but that would have been a clean short setup. Just kind of interesting stuff. Let's see, Intel. I am kind of interested in buying Intel at some point. Obviously, down huge on earnings, but it does seem to be trapped in this range between 18 bucks and maybe 25 bucks for quite a while. Since the end of 2024, August, it has been stuck in this range. And there's been multiple opportunities here to just buy it when it's down and then flip it when it comes back up a little bit. So 20% move right there. Comes back down again. 18 bucks. Boom. Rips right back up. Make 20, 30% right there again. It's back down. Buy it over here again. In the $18 range, make another 20% on it. So I could be up like 60%, 80% on Intel just by flipping it in this range. So super nice volatility. Love to see that. And right now, it is going back into that $18 range, which it doesn't seem to want to stay in for very long. So, going to be looking for an entry on it. I'm not long yet, but it's at 1940 in pre-market. So it's getting close. People love to hate Intel. Yeah, I can see why. I can see why. Because since the dot-com crash, it traded sideways for, I don't know, 15 years. And then finally got some momentum, and then now it's right back down into that range that it held for 15 years. So if you've been holding since 1998, you are break even on Intel. But you know what? It has areas where it's worth trading. It's sort of like that with Tesla too, unless you got in Tesla early. Let me see. This back test, they changed my data on it a little bit, but let's just see. So if you trade Tesla, if you trade it since 2023, okay, doing this strategy, you're up 670,000. Awesome. What's the buy and hold results? If you buy and hold, you're up 67,000. So buy and hold, you're up 67,000. If you trade it, you're up 640,000. So that's a big difference. And Tesla moves really nice for trading. Not so good for investing unless you're in from, really early. But yeah, also you could just buy the dips here and flip it into the pops. Do really, really good on it. Oracle trend break and pullback. Maybe too late for shorting now. Let me take a look. Man, it does look like it's going to give a red day. Pretty nice looking trend. Of course, not a ton of action in pre-market, not a ton of volume trading there. But yeah, so I wouldn't really trust those wicks. But it definitely looks interesting. I love the trend on it. That is a nice trend. Yeah, nice swing from D-Dog. Yeah, thanks. That was a... Well, super happy with that one. Now I only have Apple. I do have a kind of a shorter swing on Tesla right now, depending on how today goes. But I bought Apple in the close, towards the close yesterday. So I got 207.88 on Apple. So I bought the dip right into the close here on Apple right before earnings. I've got a secret earnings strategy that I'm trying out. Pretty simple. Basically, if it's, you can kind of see on the daily, this is what happens a lot of times. This works 100% of the time, 60% of the time. But if it's going down into earnings, especially if it's breaking low a day at the end of the day, right before earnings, it's going up on earnings. That's the game. So if you think about it as a shakeout, it's just shaking everybody out right before a nice move up. So it took out low a day right before earnings. That's right where I bought it. So I got 207.88. And it's gapping up. Hopefully it holds the gap and keeps going up. I don't want to sell it, but I'm pretty much risking break even now, and it needs to have follow through. Ideally, it never comes back and it just keeps going up. But with the whole market where it is, I don't know what's going to happen. It could just give it all back here, and then I don't know. But yeah, if you look at Microsoft, just one more really quick before the open here. This is how this works. So with Microsoft, look at that. A couple of red days before earnings. At the end of the day, it took out the low day right before earnings, and it ripped. So same pattern as Apple. Obviously, it's a little gambly, but that's how it is if you trade earnings. I'm kind of hoping that all this money that's flowing out of these other stocks like Coinbase ends up going into Apple. because of the good earnings. Plus, they said they're going to be acquiring an AI company potentially on the earnings call. So that would be good for Apple. Investors love to hear that kind of stuff. I'm gonna sell that. I'm gonna sell that trade. Manual sell there on the Al trade. Just FYI, do what you want. Lobo, Al is in Lobo. I repeat, Al is in Lobo. Morning spikes usually fail, so that's why I'm selling. Could keep going. Could just crash right here. So I'm locking it in. It's a nice Al trade. Whew. Lobo impressive. Yeah, 51 to 68. It's pretty good. I got 64. So you got 30, 35-ish percent on that. Sick. Gotta be quick. All right, let's see if Tesla's going to bounce here or not. Testing that trend line, bottom of the wedge area. A little concerning that it didn't make it back to the top of the wedge on this previous bounce, so it might be weakening a bit. Hard to say though. SPY dropping kind of hard. I think it's going to hold here any second and start reversing. Hopefully. So we'll see if we survive this morning dip. Typical pattern though would be for SPY to take out the pre-market low area and then bounce. We'll see if it does that. Kind of betting on that happening today. So far, just pure weakness. Yeah, Lobo's still going. Super impressive. 81 now on it, Lobo. Jeez. Apple pulling back. Don't like to see that. Feels like we're teetering on the edge of a cliff right now. Amazon bouncing though. Intel down some more. Wow, Lobo halted up at 87. Crazy. But that's how it goes. I wonder what your Hikinashi thing would have done on that one. I don't know, this Tesla trend's looking awfully broken. Yeah, we'll look when it's done. Yeah, Tesla's looking like maybe a trend breakdown happening. Do we reverse or not? SPY going lower. Apple pulling back, Nvidia pulling back. All right, Apple's filled the gap. It can stop dipping now. That'd be great if it could stop dipping now. That'd be awesome. Market weak. Well, it's weak until it's not. But Tesla's looking very weak at this trend line. Testing the bottom of this wedge. I don't like it poking through that much. Doesn't mean it's actually broken, but it looks like it's probably broken. UNH pulling back kind of hard too. I do see Amazon bouncing. Meta pulling back some. MSTR weak. Newegg pushing the highs. All right, you took Oracle. Let's take a look at that one. Looks like a good time to be shorting anything pretty much. Except I'm long 2 stocks. Yeah, it's looking pretty good on Oracle. Pretty good. All right, I stopped out of Apple. Oh my God, I was up so much on that. See you, Scotty. Have a good one. Yeah, Oracle's looking sick. Come on, Tesla. Hold up. Hold it up. You're my last hope. Not looking good, though. Three R on Oracle. Nice. I probably should have sold some of Apple into the gap up. Didn't sell any. Oh well. Yeah, things looking weak. But is it just weak enough to make me short? And then it goes up again? All right. Nice trade on Oracle. Pull it up here. Looks like Tesla's just going to go down with everything else. Nice short. Cover the dip. Beautiful. Nice trend break on that. Best setup in the market. That's how it goes, right? Win on small trades, lose in the big trades. All right, cutting my Tesla. So I broke even on Apple. Taking a loss on Tesla. It is looking like a just too weak. Looking like a trend breakdown pullback. Yeah, flip 4x, lose 4x, flip 8x, lose 8x. I know the plan. Yeah, everything's down pretty much. Okay, I'll just locked in 67% on Lobo. Nice. That's why we gotta let Al do it. Live by the owl, die by the owl. That's what I always say. Here but now. Tesla lower, testing $300 now. Should have followed the algo. That thing's still short from 313. Crazy. Will there be a reprieve? Some sort of bounce in the next few minutes? Yeah, everything's getting smashed. You could short basically any stock today. Any big cap. Well, I'm glad I didn't get stubborn on Tesla. It's going lower. Dang, I should be short. Crazy. Just backwards today. I'm too optimistic. That's the problem. So Lobo would have been 66 on the first Heikinashi. Okay. Not bad. So Al did better than that, though. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's always a balance. You squeeze the balloon. Yeah, it's not bad. All right. Unfortunately, I was trying longs, and today was the short anything day. Uh, Spy is getting smashed. Yeah, I don't know. I have one strike left, so I can try another trade. Yeah, 300 psychological level for Tesla. I don't know. It is bouncing a little bit. T-non squeezing. Another small cap. Lobo. Al actually crushed Lobo. Super impressive. He ran right up to $1, and that was the top. Breakdown pullback, though. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yep. What is this? Yeah, that Tesla might be setting up for your strat. I know Apple got brutalized. I broke even on it. I should have locked some into the gap up, but I really thought it could keep going. I'm trying to get into a swing, longer term swing. It's kind of difficult. Reshort Oracle, huh? I don't know. Maybe if it does the thing, it's got to do the thing. Got some coin for the bounce here. I'm going to scalp my way to victory. You know, where Al sold Lobo too, that was the perfect short entry. How's about that? All right, Tesla has an impressive bounce so far. Ooh, Nvidia bounced back pretty nicely. Hmm. They're reshorting Oracle. Let's see who else is in play right now. Hood's bouncing pretty good. Apple lower, 204 now. 204s. Crazy. Glad I didn't get stubborn on that. I just took some Tesla short. Actually, I'm about to. Not yet. I haven't yet. I did short Amazon. Give it a minute and see what it wants to do. Yeah, it's I don't know. I think if I start shorting, things bounce. Let's see, Apple's going lower, so crazy move. I'm keeping an eye on Tesla. Tesla's bouncing back really nicely. Might be the breakdown pullback move. Apple probably going to bounce. Spy still. Oh, he stopped out. Dang it. See if Apple can bounce here. No bounce on Apple yet, at least. It's crazy. It's like a liquidation penny stock. All right, I gotta get going. I'm gonna call it there. Super weak market right now. Al hit some. I did a really nice trade on Al, so that's nice. But nothing good for me. Just tried a few of these big cap trades. Pretty much backwards on everything. I didn't expect such a nasty pullback, but yeah, there it is. Off the top. Not actually surprising. But all right, we're gonna call it there. Good luck, everyone. We'll be back Monday.